Coming up tonight in news,
Perry Christie reveals the total cost of Hurricane Matthew. That story straight ahead.
Another homicide in the capital. We've got the details coming up.
Plus downtown Nassau's The Point celebrates the completion of its first phase of development. And a child dies in a house fire at the Mud in Abaco. Welcome to our news. I'm Dana Smith. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, there will be no hurricane tax. That announcement was made by Prime Minister Perry Christie in the House of Assembly today. This as he also revealed for the first time the damage caused by Monster Storm Matthew is estimated to be around $600 million. Jasmine Brown was in Parliament today and filed this report.
That's right, Dana. The Prime Minister revealed in Parliament today that the damage caused by Hurricane Matthew totals more than $500 million. Christie says the cost of Matthew, coupled with the cost of last October's Hurricane Joaquin, will take a tremendous bite out of the government's revenue.
It is estimated that Hurricane Matthew could cost the government in the region of $600 million. Just to imagine that. So in year one, the government is faced in those circumstances with an $800 million obligation. This is roughly 9% of GDP and 40% of our national budget.
Due to the massive amount of damage caused by both storms, the Prime Minister says his administration has had to ask the tough question of how it would cover the costs. Earlier this week, Christie was quoted in the Tribune as saying his administration may consider introducing a special tax to help finance Hurricane Matthew repair and recovery efforts. His remarks were made as he assessed Matthew's damage in the Marshall Road area on Monday. Those comments sparked outrage, and today Christie backtracked on his statements, saying it was just a conversation.
Taxation is not imposed by the Prime Minister or Minister of Finance standing up in Marshall Road and saying we are going to impose a tax.
Christie went on to say that an assessment by the Ministry of Finance has confirmed that the existing tax structure is sufficient to fund the recovery efforts.
Funding to service this debt can be derived from the existing tax system in a policy-neutral manner. And that is no change in the existing rates.
But he admitted the government does need to tighten its tax collection process.
The study was commissioned and presented to the ministry prior to the arrival of Hurricane Matthew. The key finding of the study is that with a more structured compliance, Speaker, with a more structured compliance program, the revenue base could grow by 10% in the short term and up to 20% in the medium term of 3 to 5 years.
Now, Christie says despite the massive damage, he is confident that the country will bounce back. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown. Back to you, Dana.
The government will borrow $150 million to cover costs for damage from Hurricanes Joaquin and Matthew. Minister of State for Finance Michael Halkitis made the case for borrowing in the House of Assembly this morning.
In light of this damage and devastation, Mr. Speaker, the government must respond, and we must respond quickly, and we must respond adequately. It is not possible to finance the recovery effort from the existing budget. Therefore, we are here today to propose this resolution to raise up to $150 million to finance the reconstruction and recovery effort.
Halkitis added 60 to 70% of the money that will be borrowed will be spent on repairing public infrastructure, including roads and buildings. He said the government will be prudent to ensure responsible spending as well as timely disbursement of the money. A man was murdered and 2 children were shot last night through Amos Ferguson Street in what police are describing as yet another senseless act of violence. Kyle Joaquin was on the scene and tells us more.
The mother of who we now know as Carlos Halbert made 3 attempts to see her son's body as it sat slumped over in the car he was killed in last night.
I can walk. No, I can walk. Give me a few minutes.
According to police, the victim had been driving this white Toyota Corolla when a car pulled alongside and shots rang out.
He was accompanied by 5 children in the vehicle. When a black vehicle pull up on the side of them and opened fire on the vehicle. The man was fatally shot.
3 of the 5 children were rushed to hospital. It was then confirmed that 2 of them, little girls, had been shot. Dean says the fact that there were 5 children in the car speaks to the regard that people now have for human life.
Because they are kids. They are kids. We can tell that these senseless killers have no regard for human life, have no regard for young children, have no regard. They determined that they want to kill somebody, and that's all on their mind to kill. They have no feelings, no remorse. They just want to kill.
The children are reported to be in stable condition, but traumatized. As police processed the scene, the car remained into the wall just where it crashed. Numerous family members rushed to the scene with one crying, "Lord Jesus, not again." According to ACP Dean, police at the moment have no motive for the killing, but are concerned about the new level crime has reached in the country where criminals no longer care who's in the way.
This matter is of paramount importance to us, is of concern to us. When innocent children become involved in these shootings, and that is something that they should not experience.
Police are appealing to anyone with information to contact them at 911, 919, or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 328-TIPS. For our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
And the charred remains of a young child were discovered after fire officials tackled a blaze at the Mud in Abaco last night. According to police reports, Marsh Harbor Police and Fire Services were called to the scene shortly after 9 p.m., where a single-story wooden structure was discovered ablaze. The fire was quickly extinguished, and upon examining the building, officials discovered the burnt remains of a child. No further information about the child was provided, but our news team understands the child, a boy, was around 5 or 6 years old. As for what caused the fire, police say they are actively investigating the matter and are appealing to members of the public who may have any information that can assist in the investigation to contact them or visit your nearest police station. And police need the public's help in locating a missing man. 51-year-old Kenneth Moss of Bougainvillea Boulevard, South Beach, was last seen on September 28th. He's described as a dark brown man with a medium build, standing at about 6 feet in height. Anyone with information regarding the whereabouts of Moss, again, no matter how small or insignificant the tip may seem, is asked to contact the police. Downtown Nassau's The Point celebrated the completion of its first phase of development last night, a 7-story, 900-space parking garage. Prime Minister Perry Christie was on hand at the event where he thanked China Construction America for its continued investment in the Bahamas, especially, he said, at a time when the country was faced with the crippling effects of the Baha Mar works stoppage.
This beautiful garage represents the initial phase of a plan to substantially transform the city of Nassau through the master planning of a beachfront branded condo hotel and marina resort.
Calling The Point a development which is poised to become a one-of-a-kind facility in the capital and the dawn of a new era for downtown Nassau, Christie noted CCA's further investment came at a difficult time.
China Construction and New World took the decision to extend their investment in the Bahamas at a time when we were faced with the crippling effects of the Baha Mar work stoppage and insolvency proceedings, when they, like other creditors of Baha Mar, were uncertain whether they could recoup their losses.
But Christie said The Point's developers have continued to contribute greatly, injecting millions into the economy and employing hundreds of Bahamians.
New World has since injected over $10 million into the economy during the construction of the garage, employing over 500 Bahamians, representing the majority of workers on the site.
New World also contracted the services of more than 100 local subcontractors, suppliers, and service companies, further stimulating employment at a critical juncture in New Providence's economy. Christie said he believes The Point will restore prominence to one of the most attractive and dynamic city centers in the Western Hemisphere.
With successive phases of the master plan's development coming on stream, We can expect to see a transformation of our waterfront and the beginnings of a revival of the city of Nassau in a way that will meet the needs of 21st century Bahamians, residents, and visitors alike.
Other plans in the works by the Point developers is the restoration of Junkanoo Beach all the way to Arawak Key, as well as the building of a boardwalk. Developers will also help to solve the flooding problem on West Bay Street. The Point is expected to open in late 2017. When our news returns.
Business owners at Arawak Key are up in arms about the mountain of trash that is piled just behind their restaurants. We have the details straight ahead.
Frustrated residents wait in line for hours at the Department of Welfare Services. That story is coming up straight ahead.
Plus, we speak with more residents who are still feeling the effects of Matthew. Stay with us.